So the president is threatening to shut down the southern border, as you know. And no one, I think, thinks that he's going to do it because, of course, the problems involved in shutting down the border would be, in some instances, catastrophic for a lot of like border towns, I think, in the United States. And, you know, catastrophic may be a little bit extreme, but for also for other industries in this country. And here is the Federalist Mollie Hemingway on Fox News. I can't help but to think that like maybe they're not really going to do this, but I do feel like there is a little bit of a test balloon to just get a sense of like, what's the appetite for something like this? It's also part of their, I think, their agenda to try and make it seem like there's such a crisis that's going on at the border right now, such a crisis, that maybe we need to do something like this. Like, I mean, this is akin to Joe Biden's people floating Stacey Abrams, right? It's like
because they didn't ask Mexico if they could do it. No,
the idea being that like you're just planting, you're proposing things to give people a different perspective on who you are, or what you're willing to do, or how bad. And so this whole idea about shutting the southern border is just a way of trying to enhance the characterization of their crisis. But but then the problem is that you get sent out because you're a shill, and you've got to come up with a rationale for it. And that's where it starts getting a little bit trickier. And here is Mollie Hemingway's best shot at this.
Reports are showing that almost half of our veggies and about 40% of our fruit does come from Mexico. But I understand the president's issue, too, and his stance on this. Do you think that he should shut down the border?
I'm not even sure about that, but the idea behind shutting down the border, there would be two issues there. One, there are so many people flowing over the border, there are so many people flowing across the parts of the border that are not currently guarded, that they need to shut down the ports of entry to monitor those areas and also the flow of drugs there. The other issue is that sometimes you want to have a little bit of hurt so that people are incentivized to do something about the situation. That's true not just in this country, but in other countries. And facing economic consequences for not taking this problem seriously or not doing enough to stop it is one of the ways that you can make people care more about it. In this country, though, where we should be most concerned, there are things that our legislators should be doing, closing loopholes. We have laws that incentivize trafficking children, either having children come as unaccompanied minors or knowing that if people come with children, they kind of get a free entry into the country. These are things that our lawmakers should be worried about right now.
These guys. We actually have laws that actually make it seem like we don't want children to suffer.
Well, hell yeah, let's have a U.S. Brexit and see how that goes. The problem is, of course, that they're only shutting down the border for people. Capital is still free to flow freely and exploit people wherever it wants to.
You know what? I would like to see them shut down the border for a day, and we can measure. We can measure, exactly. That's why they'd never do it. We can measure what constitutes a crisis. Like, nobody's getting, an avocado costs $17 now, but at least we don't have people streaming over the border.
The avocado costs $17, but at least there isn't Mexican food.
One less reggaeton party at Prospect Park this weekend.
Shit. That's going to hit home.
Let's go to the phone.